When I'm not playing Catan, I am solving very complex puzzles like this Peanuts puzzle with Snoopy. Catanians, we are playing Cities and Knights as you might expect me to be playing. We're going to 20 victory points, not 10. Double down on 10, go to 20, plus add in the option of stealing numbers from the main island and pulling them off to the extra islands in Greater Catan. Of course, all Seafarers rules apply, except for you do not get extra special victory points for building on any of the surrounding islands that are bordering the main island. So with 3 players, we should have plenty of room to move around this board, because you see the main island only has, 4, 10, 14 hexes compared to the normal, I believe it's 19. So if you had 4 players on this 14 hex main island, because of course you could only build on the main island to start out, only then by building ships can you build out to the extra islands later. So if you had 4 players, it would be very crowded, but since it's only 3, and since I went last, I got on some pretty good spots. So I was like, you know what? Let me get on the ore, wheat, 5-6 to start out with, and get a 3-for-1 port in the process. And I can go ahead and place a ship, and I can go build on that wheat hex if I want to later on. The only problem is I'm very far away from the wheat port. It's all the way on the other side of the main island. But I was like, let me get this 6 wheat in particular with the 3-for-1 port and the good ore hex, because that 6-4-11 is good. And it was just another good spot. I could have taken it, but I wanted to be on the coastline down here with the 3-for-1 port, because I anticipated also having a lot of lumber coming in from my starting city. And I hope that is just really, really good for me early on, because I got an 8 lumber, I got a 10 lumber, and a 4 brick. And look at that. I already have 5 brick in my hand, and this is only the 3rd dice roll. So I got a lot of potential here with what I can do. And I can already 3-for-1 the brick if I so desire. I don't have to 4-for-1 it. So I may be building some roads early on here, because I'm already at 7 cards. So if I get more than 7 cards and a 7 gets rolled, which it almost always does before the barbarians invade for the first time, rarely do I have a game where no 7s get rolled before the barbarians invade. It's just kind of without question it's going to happen. Now sometimes you get some really unlucky times where like 4 or maybe even 5 7s get rolled before the barbarians invade, and usually those 7s are coupled with a barbarian dice, which means that they're advancing and no one is gaining any resources to help them build that initial knight and get it activated. So although I'm not getting any wheat and I'm not getting any ore, and keep in mind I did not build on sheep, keep in mind that only gray built on sheep, and it's a 10, so it's kind of not that good. There's that 8 sheep on the left side of the main island just wide open for anyone to build on it. So because of that, I'm like, I better focus on trying to get a settlement down on that 4 brick with the 9-6 wheat just for more production later on, because again, that 3-for-1 port, anticipating that I could potentially lose my city, I have the 3-for-1 port to help me out to trade in to get a city back on the board later in the game. Plus, the 8s and 10s are doing semi-decent, so I'm starting to build some green city improvements, and that's all I'll be building for now. Later on, hopefully I can get a city on the 5-6, so I can get some coin coming in from that 5 ore. And there goes a 10. So although I'm probably not going to be able to build a knight, because look how close the barbarians are, I am getting paper consistently. So I have 1 paper, and I can 3-for-1 my lumber over for a 2nd paper, and there's level 2 on the green city improvements. So this will be a long shot, but I really want to get the science bonus before the barbarians invade, because I will probably lose my city when they invade. And if I can just get to the science bonus before that happens, then I can, even faster than using my 3-for-1 port, I can use the science bonus to eventually get my city back on the board. So 4 get trolled, a lot of brick. I could build 3 roads right now if I wanted to. How crazy is that? And I actually get the science bonus on this turn. That 4 roll was very crucial, right in the nick of time. So I have the science bonus, and after me, red did not bring in the barbarians. So there's still a slight hope. And all the while, these brick and lumber I've been getting, I could have traded in for a ore and a sheep and a wheat, but it's more fun to me this way, to have the science bonus. And there goes an 8, so now I have another paper. Now, but what am I going to roll on my turn? I roll an 8, and I don't usher in the barbarians. This is just insane. And right here, I almost got a metropolis before the barbarians invaded. If an 8 or 10 had just got rolled one more time in all these previous rolls, I would have had that 3rd paper I needed and traded in 3 of my lumber. And I would have had a metropolis, and I would have protected my city and wouldn't have needed a knight. I would not have lost the city. And there we go. There's a 3. And I'm getting the science bonus off the 3. Wow. Could you imagine? I almost pulled off one of the craziest challenges without really even going for it. I almost built a metropolis before the barbarians invaded. But unfortunately, it gets to my turn, Gray's turn, and I do have to burn the city while Gray and Red get to save their cities because they did build one night apiece. But man, what a crazy challenge that would have been. We'll have to try to do that in another game of cities and knights. So there goes the first 7 after barbarians, and thankfully I rolled it, so I will not be shut down, but I instead will be shutting someone else down. And I see that Gray is trying to build up to this extra island, so I want to slow that down just a little bit. And not, because once, I believe 4 numbers can be placed on those new islands before any numbers start getting pulled off the main island. So for example, Gray discovers the wheat hex right above their city, the lumber hex, the sheep hex, and maybe the brick hex. Then that next ore hex that they go to, that'd be the 5th hex to put a number on. Then Gray would pull a number off of the main island. Not any number, but I believe to start out, it's any number that they themselves are built on. So the strategy in Greater Catan is to pull a number off the main island that hurts you the least in terms of production, and hurts another player that you may be sharing that number with on the main island the most. So for example, for Gray right now, they wouldn't want to pull their 10 sheep off the main island because no one else is built on it. They may not want to pull the 9 lumber because that's very beneficial to them to be getting paper and lumber, not only for green city improvements, but also for ships, because they got that 10 sheep pairing with the 9 lumber. Put them together, you can make a ship out of that. So they might actually want to pull the 9 wheat that I share with them, or the 5 ore that I share with them. That way they can slow my production down, and then put that number on island they just discovered and later build on it. So basically, it's only for them at that point for the rest of the game, unless Red kicks over and builds on any of the new islands they discover and put numbers on. So a 2 gets rolled. Ay. And I was not built on the 2. I really wanted to be built on that 2, because I'm eventually going to work my way over to that 8 sheep, or at least that's the plan, because I don't have sheep, and that's the one resource that could come in handy, especially when I throw a city down on a sheep hex, and I can get some cloth and really just go for all the city improvements, and maybe I can get 3 metropolises this game. That's my big vision here. So there goes a 6. I do get a progress card. I'll get an inventor. Now, what number to swap out as I get my city back on the board? Because you see the barbarians just invaded, so I wait until they invaded, so they go back, and now they're 7 spaces away once again from invading. So I'll place my city now, rather than place it when they're close to invading. That way I don't have to worry about potentially losing it if there weren't enough knight power on the board, and if I didn't have a knight of my own. And you'll see here with the merchant card in my hand, I have 2 paper and 4 wheat. Can you guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw that merchant down on one of my wheat hexes. I'm going to trade in 4 of my wheat for 2 paper, add it to my 2 existing paper for 4 paper, get the green metropolis, and we are 10 minutes and 25 seconds into this game. So I just got to wait for a green to alchemist whatever they're going to alchemist. Maybe a 6? Oh, no, they're going to go for a 10. So they want to battle me a little bit in Green City Improvements, but they also want that lumber. And so they have a 10 lumber and a 10 sheep now because of the inventor swap. So they get a ship and a paper pretty much. So I'll wait for them to do their thing. And my metropolis is coming in next turn already. So they do build a settlement. They're the first to build a settlement on one of the extra islands. Good for them. But, well, in the long run, it could go either way. Because if they start pulling a bunch of numbers off the main island, that's going to be bad for me. Because right now, really the only spot I can get to is that lonely wheat hex island by itself on the bottom right of your screen. You know, I do have a wide opening on the main island to get all the way over to the 8 sheep and then beyond if I want to after that. But for right now, I get my metropolis. And since I have road building, always one of my favorite green progress cards, I'll throw that down. And now I am in a good position to build on anywhere I want on this, left section of the main island. And now I will get some sheep in the next few turns because I will be building a settlement on either I could go for the 832, but I'll still be 1 space away from the coastline, and thus I'll have to build 2 more roads and another settlement to get on the coastline and then go towards that lonely lumber hex or that lonely sheep hex all by themselves. So I may just build another road to the 8-2 on the shoreline, place a settlement there, in case I want to go over to that lumber or sheep hex by themselves and pull a number off the board with me. So I roll a nice 4. Again, the 4 is just, it's really good. I also maybe should have thought about building on that 4 ore, 4 brick, and 3 sheep, because I would have gained an ore hex, but I was seeing that red was going for that spot 1 space away on the 943. So if they went ahead and built there, then I would not have been able to build on the 344. So I go ahead and I just play conservatively. I build on the 932, so that way I can still build 1 more road to the coastline and build on the 82 later when I'm able to do so. And red goes ahead. Now they throw down a second city on the board, so they will be getting a lot of paper, so I'm going to have to watch out for that. But hopefully I can secure away my green metropolis forever. If I can get a hold of 4 more paper, I can upgrade to Green City Improvements level 5, and I thus will have the green metropolis for the rest of the entire game, and that will just be 2 victory points that the other 2 players will not be able to take from me, and they will have to find some other way to build 2 victory points to further along their total victory point score. Okay, so now that we've built on the 9, we will finally benefit from a 9. So we get a 2 wheat. Actually, we were already built on the 9 earlier. I'm sorry. We doubled down on the 9. So we got the 2 wheat, and we already have a merchant on wheat. We do have master merchant, but that's not helping. And we're already at 10 victory points. In a game of basic Catan, this game would have already been over. But no, we're just getting started. This is where, we separate the men from the boys, so to speak, where there's a lot more building to be done. We just set up the foundation. If you set up your foundation well early on in the game so that your production will start to ramp up, kind of at this point in the game where we're not quite, at the, third of the way through the game, but we're getting there where things are starting to pick up. If you set yourself up early on, where like I have, where I'm built on a good amount of different numbers, but I'm also built on every different type of resource now, and I'm about to build on the 8 sheep, which will, and the 2 ores, so that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hexes that'll be built on the main island out of the total 14. So that's not too bad. That's not too shabby. So yeah, I do have that master merchant in my hand. I am hoping that no one has spy to steal it from me. So in the meantime, I will throw down another settlement on the board. And we are looking in very good shape. We're 7 victory points ahead of both other players. They're both tied at 4. A 2 gets rolled, so I get some ore. What a crazy number to have, but I'll take it. The only one I don't have is 12. And actually, I don't really see a 12 on the board here, because I think below me is the 10 sheep, and right to the left of it is a desert hex, if I remember correctly. My progress cards are always blocking what's going on at the bottom of the board, so sorry about that. I wish I could just would have slightly moved the screen while I was playing. And great experience still playing Catan Universe on the iPhone. Highly recommend it. Early on playing the game, you got kicked out of a lot of online matches. Okay, no, it's a 5 ore and a 10 sheep, that's right. There is no 12 on this board. Yet 12, that's weird, because 12 will still get rolled potentially, right? Even if it's not on the board. I know it's in Greater Catan, the main island is a little bit smaller than your standard basic Catan board, 14 hexes versus 19 hexes, but 12 still has a possibility of getting rolled, right? Even though it's not on the board. Just no one will get anything unless you have science bonus. Huh, what an interesting thing there. But yeah, lots of fun playing on the iPhone. I'm sure you can get Catan Universe on any other smartphone, but I personally play it on the iPhone, and it just does really well. I can screen record my gameplay, I can throw it up in iMovie, edit it, and I can do a voice recording like I'm doing right now on the iPhone, airdrop that over to iMovie as well, edit the whole thing, export it, and then later upload it to YouTube. It's just a very, very simple, easy to figure out process. So I get to trade Yellow City Improvements level 2, and I'm looking for that 5th paper. So I'll go ahead and I'll secure the metropolis now, just so there's no chance of anyone else sneaking up and taking it from me. If someone had trade monopoly, they could steal a commodity of their choice from me and choose paper. Or if someone had master merchant, they could look at my hand, they see, oh wow, he had 4 paper in his hand that he was just sitting on. I'll take 2 of those, please. So nothing is ever safe unless you get your metropolis to city improvements level 5, or if you take longest road, but then you place a bunch of knights strategically along your longest road so that other players can't come in and build a road to an intersection of your roads and place a knight down to cut your road up in length. So lots of things to think about, of course, in Cities and Knights. And Greater Catan, it is a bunch of victory points to play to, but it's a lot of fun. If you really have an hour or maybe even an hour and a half to just sit down and play some Greater Catan, even if it's just without Cities and Knights, it's a whole lot of fun, because just trying to strategize looking out for a long-term game, you're like, okay, I'm on the main island. It's smaller, so it's a little cramped. But looking long-term, I have to be able to set myself up for late in the game where numbers off the main island are going to be taken off, and then there's going to be nothing left on that hex. So it won't be producing anything. Literally 0 cards will come with that hex for the rest of the game. So you have to try to balance out building cities on the main island for more production early on, and balance that with building out to other islands and then choosing to upgrade those settlements you build on those other islands to cities That way later in the game, you are set up where your production is still gonna be really high, and you're not gonna be screwed over, because I've seen it happen so many times where a player will be doing really well, early on, halfway through a game of Greater Catan, but they didn't really build that much off of the main island, maybe like 1 or 2 settlements, and then what do you know, the second half of the game, their production just slowly dwindles down to a very low amount, and then they're relying on science bonus to get a card here and there, while other players were taking that initial player's colors or numbers off of the main island and then using them for themselves. Now, when you add cities and knights into Greater Catan, it's a deeper form of strategy, because you're like, I gotta get a metropolis before someone else does, and I gotta make sure it stays mine. So that's another balancing act with building off the main island to other places, because you could be building off of the main island like Gray here is in this game, but they don't have a metropolis yet. So if I can get the metropolis and then upgrade that color to level 5, then I know I have it permanently. Whereas maybe later on in the game, Gray's production will be higher than mine, but now they can't steal that metropolis, so they just have to keep building all around, all over the place, building more settlements and cities. And also going for Defender of Catan victory points, because those are always on the table for anyone to take throughout the whole game. But once a metropolis is taken, it's very hard to steal it, and usually that player is going to upgrade that city improvements to level 5, so then no one else can have it for sure. So something to keep in mind. But Greater Catan, lots of fun. I also love the 4 islands scenario, because if this one is really fun to do if you can pull this off, where if you're playing on the 4 island scenario, you try to build your starting city and your starting settlement. If you're playing cities and knights with 4 islands, you try to build them on the same island, and then from there you try to build off and build to the other 3 islands, because again, in the 4 island scenario, just like many of the Seafarer scenarios, you get extra victory points for building on new islands that you haven't yet previously built on. So if you could build on one island exclusively for your setup in the 4 islands, and then build to the other 3 later in the game, you'll rack up victory points very quickly that way. But then again, it's hard to just get on one island. It depends on where you are in placing, cities and settlements. If you go first, you'll probably get one good spot on one island, but then if there's one other good spot on that same island, it's going to be taken, most likely. And then you have to go to another island and build on there just to stay competitive in that game. And I get a second metropolis, because why not? We just want to keep pushing the envelope here. So now we're up to 14 victory points. We're only 6 away. And you see we're 23 minutes in this video, and it's a little over an hour long. So you're like, I wonder what's up here. Why is this video so long if at this rate, Unorthodox Master of Games will be done with the game here in another 10 minutes. Well, to shed some light on that, you should go look at the title of this video right below the screen. Have you ever stalled a win in Catan? ? Because that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm always looking for ways to be unorthodox, even if it doesn't necessarily add any strategy. It's just to mess with people, honestly, because the other players can probably see, there is a chance for maybe Gray to come back and get in this game and be competitive. But Red's like, you know what? I'm 9 victory points behind the leader, and the leader has just been chugging along and building metropolises, cities, settlements, taking longest road, and has not slowed down one bit. So Red's probably like, you know what? I don't have a chance in this game. And I'm just over here like, you know what? Once I get the chance to win, I'm going to stall. Just for the fun of it. Just to see how the other players react. Because I've never done that in an online match. I've done it with my friends, and it's a lot of fun to do because they're just like, at that point they know that I'm not going to let them win, but at the same time I'm going to make them keep playing because I'm not going to lay down the win just yet, and they know it, and they just get mad, and it's really funny because they're like, you know what, hurry up and finish this game so we can either play another one, or it was the last game of the night, and they're like, let's finish this game so we can all go home. And I'm just like, no, let's just have me stall the game and give you guys the illusion of a chance to get back in it and win. And so that's what I'm applying here in an online match to see how the players react, to see if they give up and leave the game and leave an AI behind, or if they stick through it and actually try to fight back to get their victory points up somewhat close to mine. So now I'm at 15, threw down the merchant. I still have 2 master merchants in my hand. I can't do anything with them. You can't get rid of them if you're ahead in victory points. You're not allowed to use them at all. You're not allowed to discard them. So I will have to sit on those probably until someone uses spy and steals one from me. So with my 11, I get some paper and some lumber, and gray would have gotten some coin and some ore, but the robber is on that 11 ore at the very, very top of your screen. So that is good to hold them back for getting some coin. But I'm keeping an eye on red because red has a city, and now 2 cities, since I just mentioned it, on that 4 ore. So every time a 4 get trolled, they will be getting 2 coin and 2 ore. Thankfully, gray has the ore port and not red. So we get defeated, and I have to destroy a city. So I did not pay attention. I want to say that I was just messing around, trolling, stalling the win, but I was so far ahead in victory points that I was just building stuff left and right that I wasn't playing too careful at this moment in the game, and I actually built a city that was not protected by a metropolis, and I didn't realize the barbarians were that close. I didn't realize they were stronger than our knight strength, and I lost that city. So we're knocked back down to 14, but I'm still gonna get up to 16 and maybe even 18 here pretty soon. So with another 4, gray gets that coin and that ore. I do get 3 brick, so I can build 3 roads of my choice if I so desire, but red only has blue city improvements level 1, so I'll really have to keep an eye on that. But I have crane, and I traded in 2 paper with my trade bonus so I could get to blue city improvements level 2. And now I'm going to have to kind of take a pause on building other things and maybe think about getting that blue metropolis before blue does, and then maybe even getting to level 5 so I can have all 3 metropolises for myself. Wouldn't that be nice? And then just try to watch the other players struggle to find other ways to build victory points to catch up to me, because I feel like that would take a long time. So I take longest road back. I'm at 16 victory points. If I get that blue metropolis, I'll be at 18 victory points. There goes a 6. I get a lot of wheat, and I still have my 3 for 1 port. I still have the merchant on the wheat hex. No one has gotten merchant yet. I would chalk that up to a lack of yellow progress cards going out to the other players, and maybe even myself. I still have these 2 master merchants, and the one good thing about having these 2 master merchants in my hand is that no one else can get them unless they use spy. So I'm actually holding them away from anyone else getting them. So that's another key strategic point to throw out there. You know, even though I can't use them, that also means no one else can use them, because I won't be using them and they won't be going back in the pile to be circulated and then handed out later on a yellow dice roll. So very interesting point to make right there. So gray activating some knights. The barbarians are still 6 spaces away from invading. I get another crane in my hand. I do roll a 7, but oh yeah, resource monopoly. And at this point, you know, halfway through the game, in a game of cities and knights, you can almost always count on some wheat being out there in other players' hands. So usually that's what I go for when I use Resource Monopoly, especially since I have a merchant on a wheat hex. So I will be trading in a lot of wheat at a 2-for-1 rate, and I'll only trade in for 2 coin, so I can use my crane for the 3rd coin. I'm now at politics level 3, and I have 5 wheat left over. So I'll trade in 2 for a brick, and we have a road to connect up our 2 road systems. We're now at 12 length road total. I know gray is looking like they're going to try to steal my longest road, but that's okay because we're playing the long game. We're trying to get all 3 metropolises, and we can focus on battling it out for longest road later. With that 9 roll, I'm getting a little worried now because the 3 9s are away from me, and red is getting lots of brick. Gray is getting lots of sheep, brick, and cloth. And at this point, this is where the stalling comes in. I am at 17 victory points. I'm only 3 from victory. And I don't blame you if most of you just skip to the end to see the ending, or just head on over and watch something else on YouTube, because we're going to be here for another 33 glorious minutes. And I'm going to soak up every minute of it, because now with that city I just built, I'm at 18. I'm 2 away. And all I got to do is get that blue metropolis to win. So there's an 11. You see I have Alchemist in my hand. I also have Warlord, but I haven't built a single knight yet. And again, those 2 Master Merchants are still hanging out in my progress card hand. And here goes red, builds a road down, moves their knight right in the middle of my road system. So now I have a 7 length road after they cut me off. And they grab mining, and they throw a city down the board just for extra emphasis. Now Bad Hombre, with 9 victory points, rolls a 9. Now these 9s are coming in hot, and I ain't built on them. I do get science bonus, but still, wouldn't it be nice to have a couple 9s and just have all those cards coming into your hand? So I'm not really sure what to take. I take a lumber so I can 3-for-1 for something, because at this point I'm like, what should I do here? What should I do? Gray has 15 cards. Road building, it looks like. Longest road is already theirs, I believe. Yeah, because I got bumped from 16 or 18 back down to 16. So gray has a lot of knights too. So yeah, they have 6 knight strength. They're definitely gonna get Defender of Catan unless red makes a crazy comeback. Because Dupinator's not building any knights, at least not right now. So we'll see how that goes. And there goes a ship. So another number is getting pulled off of the main island. 2 have already gone, and it's going to be that 10. Thankfully, the 10 lumber that only gray and red were built on, not myself. So I don't lose a number this round. I've already lost my wheat number and my ore number at the bottom of your screen. And I alchemist a 2. You know I'm unorthodox. You know I'm going to do these wild things. And of course, a 2 was what I needed to help me out in this critical moment. Because you see, I have 2 cities on a 2, so I got 2 coin and 2 ore. And I'm trying to get that blue metropolis that I'm really close to getting. And I also use intrigue to get red's knight out of my road system. And I am now 1 coin away from jumping up to 18 victory points once again. And then longest road, I can tease gray once again for longest road. Okay, a barbarian's advance, and I have a 3, so I will benefit with a sheep and a cloth. But if that was just 1 number less on that dice roll, I would have had all the coin I ever needed and ever wanted. But after I get that metropolis, I should try to get 5 coin to secure it away, just like I've done with the green metropolis, and what I will soon do with the yellow metropolis. And red, preventative maintenance, even though I still did not have longest road, it was still gray's. They went ahead and they threw the knight down there anyway, knowing that I was going to try to take it back, and that obviously you want to keep it away from the player who has twice the amount of victory points as you. So red has 12 cards, so now I'm trying to figure out their next move. And they actually got up to 5 knight strength because they used Deserter on gray, so gray gave up a level 1 knight, and red was able to build up to 5 knight strength, so they're both tied in knight strength. So there's 10 knight strength total. And we'll see that there are 9 barbarian strength, I believe. And of course, okay, that's a good strategy. So Gray puts it on me and them, and then moves their knight, or uses their knight to displace the robber, puts it on me again, and steals 2 of the coin I had so, tried to roll for myself and trade in for myself, and now I'm back to 1 coin. They're going to get spy. I thought they were going to take a master merchant. I don't know why they did not take it. They took warlord instead. I guess because the barbarians were so close. But come on, you don't have a single wheat, or you can't trade for it this late in the game. There goes an 8. Now, I am safe and secure with the green metropolis, because you see that red just got 2 paper off of that 8 roll, plus 2 lumber, and they have the wood port. So they get 2 for 1 lumber for whatever they want. But I've already built a level 5 Green City Improvements a long time ago, so I am good on that. But man, that 2 coin I lost, I really needed that, so I'm wondering what's going to happen here. And I could have traded in my 2 cloth, my 2 paper for another 2 coin, but I was like, why bother if it's just going to get stolen from me again? So I held off on that turn. And look at that, red burned 5 paper and 2 brick. So they knew that they weren't going to be able to get that green metropolis, so why keep the paper? Only for trading purposes will you keep it after someone else takes the green metropolis forever, assuming you have the trade bonus from level 3 yellow 3 city improvements. So I get stolen from. I now have 0 coin. I'm still getting stolen from. There goes all my paper. And they use warlord, and because the barbarians are 1 roll away from invading. So of course they're going to use warlord, get all their knights activated after they used all their knights to keep moving the robber around and taking cards from me. That's a very good strategy. I appreciate the wisdom there. Now Gray's gonna roll a 8. I'm getting all the commodities I don't need right now, but that's okay because we can trade them in. There goes another city. So if a 9 gets rolled, Gray is getting 6 cards off a 9. But I'm going to go ahead and roll a 7 instead, usher in the barbarians. And this time, they both tied. So once again, that was a key part of this game. I was waiting, a long time for them to catch up because they keep tying each other for knight strength. So they weren't getting victory points from Defender of Catan. They were just getting a progress card of their choice. And after a while, that becomes kind of redundant. And it kind of slows you down from getting close to winning the game. And with that pirate ship move, I stole a cloth, so I have 4 cloth. Again, I could get 2 coin out of that with trading, but I'll wait on it, see what happens. There goes a 9. That's 6 cards for Gray, 4 cards for red, and 1 card for me. So I'll take a wheat. If I get another wheat along the line, that'll be a 2-for-1 trade. Red builds. Now red will get 5 cards off a 9, and they double down on the 9 brick. What do you know? They have 2 9 brick hexes now. Inventor, I will probably lose a good number. Oh, actually I can't because my 6s and 8s are safe from Inventor, and I only have my 4 is my best number after that because my wheat number was stolen, my ore number was stolen. What do you know? I get wedding. So even though I'm stalling, I'm also not able to do much because I just got wedding and I'm in the lead, so I can't use wedding. And wow, my 8 just got stolen. So Gray is playing a very strategic game and stealing all the good numbers that they can off the board when given the opportunity. Because when you get the option to steal a number off the main island, you only get a chance to steal certain numbers. It doesn't give you the option to choose every single number. I think I said that early in the video, but I just want to reiterate that. So just keep that in mind. You're not always going to be able to steal an 8 right off the bat. Usually from the numbers that you're built on, when you get to first move a number off the main island, it's a number that's not a 6 or an 8. I think that's the way it goes. And later on, once most of your numbers have been pulled off, then you're allowed to choose a 6 or an 8. But then again, green has a 10 still on that sheep hex down at the bottom of your screen, so I'm still not quite up to speed on how exactly the numbers get chosen to get pulled off the board for each of your selections. So there goes a 4. I get some brick, and I get road building, so I get to tease gray once again for stealing back longest road. And if I can get that another intrigue and get red's knight out of there, then I can take longest road and have it for a little while. There goes another inventor. Oh, they brought a 5 over to our sheep hex that red and I share, so that was nice. And they throw that 3 way up at the top of your screen where gray is built on that lumber hex right next to the ore hex. Alchemist is coming out. Is it going to be a 3? Yep, called it, for maximum cartage. So I had to get rid of a progress card. Of course, I'm going to get rid of Master Merchant so no one else can use it on me. I realize that it's going back in the progress card stack, but at this point, I need to free up my hand because I'd rather have cards like road building and irrigation. I could have got rid of wedding instead, but either way, I will be able to use road building on my turn, and then irrigation I'll get a bunch of wheat because I still have that merchant hex, or that merchant on the wheat hex. I don't think it's been moved, honestly, this whole time. Has it been there since I put it there? I really think it has. Okay, yeah, as you can see, I did max out the yellow metropolis city improvements and the green metropolis city improvements. So I'm level 5 on both of those. And I'm just waiting for that opportunity to be able to get 4 coin in my hand some way, somehow. Okay, there's a 4. So I should have a total of 6 brick. And if I use irrigation, I should be able to trade in for 4 coin. But first, road building. Let's put some ships out on the board. And right here, I opened up another opportunity for gray to build one road off of their settlement on the 10 sheep, build it down towards my ships, and place a knight in between my ships down there, and cut off my road system from that area there. But I was like, you know what? Let me just get the metropolis. That's what I'm focused on anyways. I don't want red to get it. I want to have it. So now I'm back up to 18 tall, large, humongous victory points. The barbarians advance, and there's a 9. Again, aqueduct has to come my way, and wow, red is the massive beneficiary off of the 9. They get 4, 8, 9 cards off of 9. How fitting. They get 5 brick, 2 ore, and 2 coin. So they build the city there, and they might, if a couple more 9s get rolled, they might steal my blue metropolis from me. I gotta watch out for that. There goes a 4. Gray gets 2 cloth and 2 ore, and I get some brick. So I'm mainly getting brick and wheat at this point in the game, because you can see 3 of my numbers have been stolen from me. Okay, gray is back at it. What are they going to steal? They steal the 5. So even though gray still has numbers that they're built on the main island, they're allowed to steal from other colors that they weren't even built on that 5 on that sheep hex. They took it off and put it on that wheat. So that is very interesting. I still don't know exactly how that works, but I am 4 numbers short on the main island, and of course I have not built off on the main island just yet. Science bonus. I don't really know what to choose, honestly, because I guess I should try to secure away the blue metropolis, but I should also try to take longest road. Because at this point, is it too much stalling? Or should I keep humoring myself and keep going? Because I could probably get longest road here pretty soon, once I connect up my ships over to that city. And actually, instead, I'm going to build on that brick port, because you can't connect roads, open roads and open ships, and it doesn't connect as one continuous road system. You have to have a settlement in between them. So that's exactly what I'll do here. But let me know in the comments, was that the right move, or should I have gone for the blue metropolis to scare it away permanently? Because you see red just built level 4 on the blue city improvement, so they are 5 coin away from stealing it. I am 5 coin away from securing it forever. So I'd get rid of that other master merchant, and now it's back in circulation. And with the 7, gray will shut down my ships and take a card from me. And they have 2 city, right? Yeah, 2 city walls, so they can hold up to 11 cards without having to burn cards. There goes a 5, but my 5 was stolen from me, so I'm back to science bonus. Most of this stalling is just because of mostly getting science bonus over actual numbers that I have. Besides the 4. The 4 has been pretty good to me this whole time. But then again, it's only on brick. So technically I do have 2 ore hexes, but the 1 is a 2. And 2s very rarely get rolled unless I can alchemist them. But I have mining, as well as irrigation. Man, if I would have built on that ore hex that red is built on with the 9, if I would have built on that earlier when it was still a 4, not only would I have benefited from the 4s, but mining would have netted me 2 more ore. And right here, I would have been able to have 6 ore total at this point, and I would have been able to trade them for 5 coin. But I'm only able to trade them for 4 coin, so I'm like, you know what? I can't do it. I got to do something else instead. Because it looks like here, if red gets the right rolls next turn, they're going to take my blue metropolis, so I might as well build something. So I build a settlement, and now I'm at 19 victory points. So if I connect up my road systems, I'll take Longest Road, go to 21. Or if a blue or green dice get rolled and I get a progress card off of it, well, I will, because I'm maxed out on both of those. No, blue, I'm only up to level 4. Then if I get a blue or green progress card off a roll, chances are it could be a constitution or a printer, and I'll get a victory point, and I'll be right at 20 without Longest Road. Because you can see gray they very smartly laid out their roads and ships, so they have them in one continuous line. So nothing I can do about that except try to keep mine in a continuous line and connect them all up. They're at 16. And if I connect mine up, I should have more than 16, maybe close to 20. There goes my metropolis, that blue metropolis. It was nice to have while it lasted. And I am back down to 17 victory points. And red and gray, they're both at 12 now. They were in the single digits for a long time, but now they're up to the 12s. But they're still an entire 8 victory points away from victory. That's gonna, at this point, all the metropolises have been taken and secured away permanently. There's no way to steal them from anybody. So red and gray have to build more settlements and cities, and hope for Defender of Catan victory points or the Printer or Constitution progress card victory points to be able to get up there in victory points in their totals. But again, I'm just stalling. I'm just hanging out. I'm just having fun with it. I'm like, how long could I have this game go? You know, I didn't cut that much footage out when I was editing, because even though I was this far ahead the whole time, no one left. No one took really long turns, really, except for, once here or there. And that's understandable. Over an hour-long game, you might not be paying attention to the screen for like 10, 20, 30 seconds. But yeah, this was just a really long game because of me. I chose for it to be this long. And what do you know? Right here, once again, I'll use Deserter on red. I knew that they would get rid of their level 1 knight instead of one of their level 2, level 3 knights, so they can still be in competition with gray for Defender of Catan. And I should have not put that knight right there. I should have put it at the sheep port right at the intersection of the ore and sheep hex, just in case Gray decided to later on build a road and then place a knight there to shut me off on my longest road. And I'm at 19. I could have won right here. Isn't that just hilarious? I could have built a settlement over there on the 11 with the 3-for-1 port, my lumber hex. I was like, you know what? Let's just keep messing around. Just keep stalling. I don't know. I get enjoyment out of it. Just watching other players just keep playing with the just that hope that they can have a chance to win. Like, no one really got in the chat and said anything. Like, no one called me out on it. Like, hey, Green, you could have won by now, or you should have won by now. I definitely should have. And yeah, they just kept playing their game, and I respect that. And longest road goes back to Gray, thanks to Red. So once again, they did tie in barbarian strength, or knight strength rather. So no Defender of Catan victory points. There should have been, or that would have been like, I'm trying to think of how many times the barbarians have invaded this whole game. You can go back and count, but there could have been at least 5 or 6 Defender of Catan victory points on the table throughout this whole game. But just all the tying and all the defeating that the barbarians did against us ruled out those victory points. So there goes the 7. Of course, it's going right on me. And remember, in Greater Catan, you can build more than just 4 cities. They give you like 8 cities or something crazy like that. So you just keep upgrading all your settlements. And that's why the production is always super high in Greater Catan, because imagine 8 cities on the board, just all over the place. And even if you only had like 4 or 5 different numbers, your production would just be crazy. Think of it. If you had, let's say there's 3 9s, right? You could build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You could build all 8 cities if you had 3 9 hexes. Actually, I think 1 9 hex would have to be separate from the others, as in this setup. Although the 9 just got moved over to my lumber hex. So that's a thank you to Gray for that. There goes a 5. Again, I have to use science bonus, because my 5 has been long gone. Gray gets an ore and 2 wheat off of that 5, so that's nice for them. Inventor, I knew it. Red was like, nope, that was my 9. I'm taking it right back. So I get the 11 back. And now we're getting into the last couple turns here. About 10 minutes out from the ending. If you think I'm going to win, you might be right. You might be wrong. Maybe it'll get stolen from me right at the end. There goes another settlement by Red. So yeah, Greater Catan, basically just keep playing settlements and keep upgrading them, and then keep building out to other places, build your other settlements, and then keep upgrading those into cities. I mean, it's pretty standard boilerplate Catan gameplay. You just got to remember to build some off of the main island so you can have a good setup here late in the game. Because you see, I've drawn from science bonus so many times, and the other players have been getting way more than just 1 card off all these dice rolls. At this point, I have a 2, a 4, a 6, and an 11. And I finally got on that 10 sheet. Took me a while. I had to build all the way around Gray's settlement to get there. And now Gray, 2 ships off a road building, and they have a super longest road. And they stole the 9. So even though Red took it back, Gray was just like, you know what? I'm just taking it off of the main island. And I'm taking it for myself. And they throw a city down just for good measure. They're at 15 victory points without a metropolis, I might add. That's pretty impressive. Now for my dice roll. I have diplomat, so that means one of red's roads or ships, open roads or ships, is coming off the board. Throw the pirate ship right there to steal a card from gray. And I'll take off one of their roads because that road was closer to a undiscovered hex compared to their ship that on the other side, on the left side of the board, off of the 9 sheet pointing down to that undiscovered lumber hex. Plus, I have the pirate ship not allowing them to build any more ships directly to that lumber hex. They have to take the long way around the left side of that 9 sheep hex. So I'll take the road away off the 8 brick and watch to see if they'll build 2 roads anyway and discover that hex above the 8 brick and put another number off the main island up on there. Now here, we are finally all connected up. I have a 20 length road out of a possible 30 length road because you have 15 roads and 15 ships. And we're going to see what gray does, because even though red has that knight placed in the middle of my roads up there on the 11 lumber, because I finally connected them up the other way around, it's one continuous road system. It's 20 roads and ships all in a continuous line. So now it's up to gray to build a road off of their settlement that I literally surrounded, and then place a knight to cut off my road system, it's right in the perfect spot to pretty much cut it in half. There goes bishop. Yep, I'm getting stolen from, so is gray. There goes my ore. Medicine. There goes a city. There are so many cities. There is a 14 barbarian strength. There's 14 cities out on this board. And there's 13 knights. I think each player can have up to 12 knight strength. 2 mighty knights, 2 level 2 knights, and 2 level 1 knights. So that's 6 knight strength plus 4 knight strength plus 2, which is, yep, that's 12. Every once in a while you will see someone go for the max. They'll have 12 knight strength, and usually there's no competition. If you have 12 knight strength on the board, no one else can really compete with you unless they have a deserter or 2 up their sleeve. And as I called it, and so it shall be, I should have moved my knight over in that spot, my level 2 knight, and made them upgrade to a level 3 knight just to shut me down. But I did not. So my longest road has once again been stolen, and I roll a 9 for the other player's benefit, and not really for mine. 7 minutes to go. If you stuck this far, thank you very much. If not, I understand. Well, if not, you won't hear me. But I just love Catan. I love playing it in all different kinds of ways. Usually I do stick to the same, dupinator strategies, but every once in a while I like to just see how a game would go if I played it like this or played it like that, or stalled, or try to win as quickly as you can, as how everyone plays it. And sometimes it just gets a little boring. Why not mix it up? There goes Smith. Now I have a level 3 knight. And I should have moved my level 3 knight to squish Bad Hombre's level 2 knight. Because I would have only been at 19 victory points, and I would have thus still been stalling. Here goes an engineer from red. Now they can hold a maximum of 13 cards without burning cards off of 7, because they now have 3 city walls. Saboteur, I'll just throw away a paper, because who needs it? Wow. So red just traded in 12 brick and 2 lumber for just to build that city. That's dedication right there. And they weren't even built on the brick port. I'm built on the brick port. What do you know? Another 5? 5s and 9s, very hot. Nothing much else to say about that, except I wish I had them. So yeah, at this point, it's going to be very hard for me to take back Longest Road. I'll have to move my level 3 knight either to the knight that Gray built in my road system. Oh, but never mind, because there they go. They use Smith, and now they have a mighty knight, and I have a mighty knight, And I can't move my Mighty Knight to shut them down because we're of equal strength. I would have to be stronger. And since there's no level 4 knight, I can't move my knight to that place to displace their knight. So I'm going to actually have to move it over to red spot in order to take back Longish Road. But then Gray was like, to add on top of that, I'm going to steal a number, but I'm also going to get up to 20 length road system. So now I'm only at 20, but I've connected my roads in basically one big circle, and I can't add to it because it would be an offshoot. So I can only tie Gray for Longish Road at this point, even if I move my knight to where the knight that red has on my 11 lumber. So now I'm like, uh-oh. Things are heating up because red's at 16 victory points. They're only 4 away from winning. We've seen many 4-point swings on a single turn to win the game in Cities and Knights. So I'm like, I'll just build a city and I'll move my knight, but I can't really build I have the cards to build a ship, but where? How? How do you build a ship to get a 21st Longish Road? And of course, it only gives me the option to move my 11, whereas Gray was able to steal my 8 and this and that. I really wanted to steal Gray's 6 wheat, but it'll just have to stay there. But that's another number off the main island. There's now 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers gone off the main island. Only 6 remain. How crazy is that? It's such a... Now, basically, that'd be funny if they turned all those hexes into desert hexes in the online version. They could totally do that, and that'd be really, really funny to see. They're very, very sad, actually, but just be a huge desert where Greater Catan used to be. Or maybe Greater Catan is the surrounding islands. And in a crazy turn of events, Red must have gotten fed up with this game after taking so long, so they actually cut off Gray's Longish Road system instead of mine. They could have gone over to where my 2 ore is and cut me off there at that road intersection, but they decided to cut off Gray instead, which gives me Longish Road. So now I'm at 20 victory points and it's not my turn. And the other thing you see, if you notice at the top left, the barbarians are 1 roll away from invading, and Gray did not roll the barbarian dice, so they did not invade just yet. But I am curious to see if I roll the barbarians and they invade, do I lose a city? Because there's way more barbarian strength than there are knights activated. There's 16 barbarian strength, so wow, there's 16 cities on the board. That's crazy. There's only 10 knight strength out on the board. So if I roll the barbarians, do I win because I rolled the dice and I had 20 victory points? Or do I have to follow through the effects of that turn and destroy the city, go back down to 19, and then have to build up 1 more victory point? I would love to see if that happens here. So there goes Gray. They're going to move the pirate ship. They're going to move it on Red because they're probably very mad at Red for breaking up their Longish Road. But really, there's not much they can do. Unless they don't have any more progress cards, so they don't have Intrigue. And even if they did have Intrigue, I bet... Well, actually, that would work. That very much would work. If they had Intrigue. Wow, what a game. There was only 2 more hexes to put numbers on. So that would have left the main island with only 4 numbers. That's insane. So they build the settlement. They could have built another road, but they just build the settlement because they're like, you know what? We don't have the cards to build a bunch of roads and take Longish Road back. But the barbarians are 1 space away. What's going to happen here? It's any man's game. Just kidding. It's my game. It's been my game all along. How could I have it any other way? So I'll just roll the dice. And it's not the barbarian, so I don't get to see what happens. And I just win. Thank you, Red, for just boosting me up to 20. I was going to do it on my own. Actually, at this point, red could have probably came back and won the game had they been, not got fed up and all. Well, thank you guys for watching. That was a fun one. Have you ever stalled a win in Catan, or is this just me? I think up all these crazy, unique, off-the-wall ideas, and then I see how people react to them. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you in a more strategic game of Catan next video.